Hey everyone, Mitchell Pearson here. This is a quick video to simply answer some of the questions in regards to the MDX 101 webinar that I recently did for Pragmatic Works. We had a great turnout for the webinar. We had around 500 attendees, and from those attendees, there were a lot of great questions. All right, so let's get started here. A couple of the questions we had. The first question is, will the webinar be recorded? And if so, where can I view that at? So the webinar was recorded. I have that link on my blog at mitchellpearson.com, but you can also get that directly from pragmaticworks.com as well. And there's actually hundreds of free training videos out there at pragmaticworks.com. So if you go to pragmaticworks.com/training, you can then click on this button right here on the right, view all free classes. Click that button. And then from here, you would see hundreds of free webinars, hundreds of free training classes that we've done that you can look at, and you can see all the different topics here that are covered in those webinars. All right. So you can search MDX, come up here and search MDX 101, and then hit the search button, scroll down, and immediately you can see the webinar that I just recently did for Pragmatic Works. All right, once again, I have that link on my website as well. All right, second question here. What tool did you use for deploying MDX code? All right, so this is a great question. So when you make changes in your cube and you add calculations and you make changes to your MDX script, you do not have to redeploy your entire cube, and a lot of people don't know that. So one of the things that I showed during my webinar as we were adding calculations to the cube was how to quickly deploy that code to the cube. So once I make a change to one of my calculations here, I was selecting this button right here, this deploy MDX script. This button is part of a plugin. Right, part of a free tool that is available. That tool is called Bids Helper, and you can easily download this free tool from bidshelper.codeplex.com. Right, bidshelper.codeplex.com. That's just one of the many free features and awesome features that are available in Bids Helper. So I would definitely challenge you to download that, take a look at the documentation, and see all the different options and functionality that is available there. But very good, very cool tool that you can use for a lot of different things, SSIS and SSAS related. Okay, the next question here, how can you handle divide by zero errors in MDX? Another great question. I didn't have time to cover this in the webinar. We covered a lot of stuff in the webinar. We didn't show exactly how to handle this. So let's jump into Management Studios now, and I'll show you exactly how we do cover something like this in MDX. All right. So in the webinar, I showed how to create these measures, all right, how to create these measures in the cube. And the first one I created was this profit measure, which is simply internet sales, and then I subtract the total cost from that. The second measure that we created was the profit margin. Now, the profit margin is simply the profit, which we created up above, then we divide that by measure internet sales amount. And the question here is, how do we prevent divide by zero errors when the measure internet sales is equal to zero? And the way we handle this in MDX, or one way of handling this, is by using the if function, right? So if, what's going on here? If the denominator is equal to zero or is empty, so I'm going to say if is empty, and then internet sales amount, paste that in there. And then or internet sales amount is equal to zero. All right, so if it meets either one of these criteria, if the value is empty or if measured internet sales is equal to zero, then, comma, I want to return just the value of null. Else, if it's not equal to zero, go ahead and perform this calculation. And then at the end here, we can close that parenthesis up, and then now we can run this code. All right. And select profit and profit margin and validate that everything is working correctly. So a very quick and efficient way of being able to handle these divide by zero errors that you might be worried about. All right, great question. Next question we got here is, how can we use MDX and SSRS? Okay, so I had a lot of questions around this, and we didn't cover SSRS in the webinar, but I'll show you how to do this very quickly with a new SSRS report. So I've created, let's see where that's at. Created a new solution here, pull it over, for reporting services. And all I'm going to do is create a new report. So I'm in SSRS, in Visual Studios. I'm going to create a new report real quick. All right, just give this a name. MDX follow-up, that's fine. And then inside this report, the first thing you need to do to add MDX or use MDX inside of an SSRS report is create a data source that points to your analysis services cube. So let's create one here called AdventureWorks, and I'm just going to call it cube. And then the type, I'm going to select Microsoft SQL Server Analysis Services. And then in the connection string, I want to select the server right here where that analysis services instance is located. And then select the database that we're going to query. So my cube is in this AdventureWorks DW 2012 database. All right. Test connection, click OK, and then click OK. And then once we have our data source, the rest of it is essentially as easy as creating any other data sets or any other reports in SSRS. So I'm going to create a data set now. We'll call this MDX. Use a data source or data set embedded in my report. I'm going to select that Analysis Services Connection Manager. And then we have two options here. We can either select to use just hard-coded MDX like I was doing in Management Studios, or we can use the Query Designer to help us out with our MDX code. All right. So either one will work. If you select the expression option here, you can type your MDX in here. Just make sure you first remove that equal sign. And then you can just type in your MDX like you normally would on 0 from AdventureWorks or whatever your cube name is. You can also use the Query Designer, which is very, very helpful if you're new to MDX. You can come in here, so let's say I want to bring in my internet sales amount. I can just drag and drop internet sales. Come back over here to my dimensions that are available and go into product, go into category, and I can drag over the category, and now I can see my categories and internet sales. And you can add to this. You can say internet sales category, subcategory. All right. So very quickly and easily you can get this functionality here. Click OK, and then all the MDX has been written for you in SSRS. So the Query Designer is your best friend here. Definitely use it if you're new to MDX. And then from here you can alter the code if you need to. All right. So that's how you do that. That's how you create that data set in MDX for SSRS. All right, so we're almost done here. Just a couple more questions. Why does the children function not return the all member? All right, this is a very common MDX question, especially if you're new. Why does the children function not return the all member? So we're going to go back into MDX again. Open up a new window here. So in my webinar, I showed really the difference between members, children, and the different behavior that you get when you're querying your dimensions. So here I have the product.category dimension. And when I query this product.category, the product dimension, and then the category attribute hierarchy, the default member here is the all level, the all products. That's the default member. So if I change this and I go with something like members and I run the query, I receive all the members that exist for this attribute hierarchy, which includes the all level, and then each category below that, right? And I showed you in the webinar how to remove the all level by simply bringing back the children. So the question here is, how come when you use the children, does it remove the all level? And the quick answer to that is the children function is a navigation function. And what it's doing is saying, okay, bring back all the children of the current member. And the current member right here, the current member here is all products. So if I remove this and I run this again, you'll see that the current member is all products. So if I bring back just the children of all products, the all level or the all member itself is actually excluded from my MDX query. All right, and there you go. So that's why when you use the children function, you don't get that all level, because it's bringing back the children of the member that you've specified. All right, so I think we had two more very quick questions here. Why does the children, nope, we've already done that one, sorry about that. How long does it take to become an MDX expert? Very easy to answer that question. I'm not an MDX expert, so I don't know the answer to that question. But definitely check out SQLdusty.com. That's ran by Dustin Ryan, a great friend of mine. He's an MDX wizard. He has probably 40 MDX blogs there. You can definitely learn a lot from his blog. And then if you really want to know how long it takes to become an MDX expert, he can help you out. What books would you recommend? So there's 3 books. One book is called Microsoft SQL Server 2008 Analysis Services. This book is an analysis services book, but has probably 150 pages on MDX, and I really love the way the author explains what MDX is and how you use that to query a multidimensional cube. Great explanations in that book. The second book I would recommend is The Expert Cube Development with SSRS Multidimensional Models. This book also is a great book. It's an analysis services book, but it has a couple great chapters on MDX. And then finally, the last book I would recommend here is The Practical MDX Queries. Very simple name, Practical MDX Queries. It goes through all the basic functions, all the basic syntax for MDX, and quickly gets you up to speed if you're a beginner with some very basic knowledge of MDX. All right, so thank you for watching this. A little longer than I wanted it to be, but if you want to see the full webinar, you can go to pragmaticworks.com and you can view the full webinar there. Thank you again, and have a nice day.